Welcome to the Anxiety Doesn't Own Me podcast. My name is Emmanuel Isaacson. I'm an anxiety coach who helps people to overcome and heal their anxiety naturally. Why is it nowadays that so many people are struggling with an anxiety disorder? This is something that I was thinking about, and I always thought about, is that what happened? What changed all of a sudden that it became an epidemic where so many people are struggling with this? And so many people are having such a hard time with it, where back then it wasn't as it is today. Now, I'm not saying back then people didn't struggle with an anxiety disorder. They definitely did, but it wasn't as it is today where so many people are struggling with it. I remember even, let's say, whenever I was going through an anxiety disorder, just to find that person that went through it was very hard. Now, today, thankfully, there is social media, and also not thankfully, but there is social media that we're able to connect with other people and see like, oh, wow, this person is dealing with it, same thing that I am. And it really does help, of course. But I was asking myself, and I was like so curious, why is it that nowadays so many people became an epidemic where so many people are struggling with an anxiety disorder, so many people are struggling with depression? I'm like, what happened? What changed? And there is definitely a lot of things that have changed than it was years ago, even about 20 years ago or 15 years ago. And what has changed, and I think it's such a big impact, is social media. I think that it has such a big impact on people and making them feel less anxious. On top of that, also the foods that we're eating is not as healthy as it used to be. They got much worse. And it makes, and the certain foods that we eat can increase our chance of triggering an anxiety disorder. As well, the news. Beforehand in the news, I don't know, I remember when I was a kid, it was like at 6 o'clock or at 7 o'clock or I think at 10 o'clock. Don't remember. But it was like maybe once a day. But nowadays, it's just news all the time. You have literally on your social media, you can follow the news stations and they just have news all day. And it's all negative, nothing positive they ever say. And if they do, it's like maybe 1% of what they actually say is positive, but majority is all fear-based. And they know people get addicted to it. And what happens is that we go back and again and again and again. Because why? Because one time it gave us that relief, right? And we go back to it again, so they give us that relief again, but it doesn't happen. And we're like, oh my God, we get stressed and we get worried. I remember whenever COVID happened, I was looking at my phone, I was looking at the news, what was going on. I was getting really nervous. You know, it's crazy, this pandemic that we were experiencing. I remember how we used to wipe down everything from the grocery store, washing our hands every time we would walk in, you know, with the masks and everything. And I got so sick and tired of it. After like a month or so. I told my wife, I'm like, I'm no longer listening to the news. Like, I'm done. Like, I'm finished. This is driving me crazy. It's not helping me. All they're making me is they're making me feel more anxious. That's what they're doing. They're making me feel more anxious. It's not helping me. So I completely cut out the news with COVID. I didn't want to hear about it. I didn't want to listen about it. No, the news doesn't help. Okay, I heard the news. It's a pandemic. Thank you very much, but I don't need to listen to it more and more and more, what's happening and how it's going to affect me, because it really kind of messed me up a little bit, and I had to like push that out. I'm like, this is not good for me. And I know a lot of people got struggle with anxiety because of COVID, and again, because of the news and how it was all fear-based. Now, also our foods that we eat, it completely changed than it was then. It's much worse than it is today. If you just read the ingredients, I remember I read some of the ingredients on the food. I'm like, what is this? I'm like, this is not even food. I'm like, how in the world do they have so many ingredients in this little tiny package? I don't get it. Like, how in the world is this pasta? Or how in the world is this chocolate? It makes no sense. I'm like, what's up with all these ingredients? I'm like, this is not a cake. This is a chemical. You're eating a chemical. You're not eating food. Or this is not even a cookie. So there's certain ingredients that can trigger our anxiety. And this is not something that I'm just, talking and I'm just saying, oh, this is what I believe in. No, I did a lot of research on it and I realized, and what they're saying about the foods and how it can affect certain things in our body, and also as well with social media and how it affects us. And I remember I talked about this a few episodes about a certain documentary that they made on Netflix called The Social Dilemma, that it was talking about how social media really affects us, and especially with the phones, the iPhones, which again, it's a great invention, but at the same time, there is such negativity on it that's making us feel more anxious, especially the blue screen, and switching and the scrolling can make us feel more anxious. And a lot of people now, teenagers nowadays, they are affected by it. Just looking at other people's lives, looking at how other people look and how they're living and everything, and they compare their lives and they feel down about themselves. So they feel depressed. They don't think they're actually worthy enough. As well, I think nowadays people are less interactive with other people. Like back in the day, I remember whenever I was a kid, I used to be out all day from the morning until the night, even well into the night. And our block was just with so many kids over there. We would play sports the entire summer. We would play sports, have fun, water fights, everything. And it was less in the house, less TV, less on the phones and everything, and more out. Even my parents and even the older adults were more out than it is today. Nowadays, people are more in their house, watching TV, on their phone, less interactive. And it does definitely affect, because we humans, we need to connect with one another. We need to connect with one another. It makes us feel much better whenever we go out, when we do things. And of course, right now you don't feel that way because you have anxiety. But I'm saying before you had anxiety, that's what you used to do, and it made you feel better. It changed your mood. But nowadays, we're stuck at home watching TV or on our phone and social media, and there's less interaction with other people. So it definitely does affect. It definitely does. And what we need to do is we need to protect ourselves from these things so that it doesn't affect us. Like, for example, we're on social media too much. We need to take a break. I remember I spoke about this a couple episodes ago, that I was talking about how we should take one day off from technology. Just take one day off of technology so that you can calm yourself down. It will literally help you to calm down. It's amazing whenever that happens. It really, really does. Now, of course, I'm not saying that if you went through a certain thing in life, in a certain situation, or maybe your upbringing or a certain traumatic experience, that definitely is going to make you feel more anxious, 100%. Now, what we need to do is protect ourselves from these things, from these situations. Like, for example, with social media or the news. Cut out the news completely. Like, I don't even look at the news anymore. I don't care what happens. I haven't looked at the news since COVID. Like, I'm done with it. And if it was something major, I would hear about it from somebody else. Just like COVID did. Like, you would hear from everybody. But the news doesn't help you. It's an addiction, and they know it, because what they do is that they give you that fear, and then all of a sudden they give you the relief that you're looking for. But again, what happens is that 98% of the time, you're not getting that relief. And they keep you hooked, waiting for that relief. It's an addiction. So we need to cut off the news completely, because it doesn't really help. I remember I even told my mother this a few years ago. She was always getting very anxious. Like, Emmanuel, what's going on with this? So like, she was always like on the news. And I was like, Mom, you need to get off the news. Stop it. It's not going to help you. Thankfully, she did listen to me, and she stopped watching the news, and she's like, you know, Emmanuel, thank you so much. I feel so much better. TV time. Again, with the TV, we got to cut it out, because think about it. Back in the day, watching TV, you have to go to the movies, or we had certain times on the TV, or that even back then it was like only a certain amount of channels, but most people weren't watching TV, and we didn't see the amount of violence that we see on it today. And that makes us feel anxious, because our brain is like, whoa, is that really happening? Of course, we can differentiate between it being fake or real or not, but like, it's still affecting our mind. It's still affecting it subconsciously. That is the thing. So we need to do certain things in order for us to stop having anxiety. And I'm a big believer, and I told my wife, like, I'm worried about our kids right now when they get older, being on social media whenever they're kids. I don't want that for them, because I know the effects. And I truly believe they should put a limit, on age limit, like just like drinking and just like smoking. They should put an age limit of whenever somebody can be on social media, because it really does affect. And they did studies on it, and they found it creates more depression and anxiety. They did studies on it, and they've proven it that it does. So why not? Why are we letting this happen? Because if you see, I remember, I forgot where I saw this. It was a few years ago that I saw how the suicide rates upon teenagers has increased tremendously. I think over 200%. That's insane. Why is this happening? And it bothers me when I hear that. It bothers me because, like, I'm hurt. I'm like, that really sucks. And what do we need to do something about it. We need to do something about it so that it doesn't continue this way, so that we could get better. So if we are struggling right now with anxiety, we can start cutting out certain things, stop being on social media. Even though like you're only following positive things, it's still the scrolling of the screen and also the blue screen can make you feel more anxious. We need to take a break from it. We need to take a break from it in order for us to feel much better. As well with the news, completely cut it off. Our diet, eat much healthier. Look at the ingredients. There's an app called Yuka. You can download it and scan the barcode, and it can show you exactly what's inside the food that you're eating. So let's say you're going to the store and you're scanning, let's say, mac and cheese, for example. And I recently saw this video that they found something about mac and cheese, how dangerous it is. And you can see exactly what preservatives are in there, what additives are in there, so that you can say, okay, this is not good for me, and I can get something healthier. That's going to help you to feel much better. That's what I do all the time. I drive my wife crazy every time she goes shopping. Even with the food that she buys, I'm always scanning it. And even when we go shopping, I'm like scanning everything. She's like, can we please stop scanning everything? I'm like, but like, you should read the preservatives of like what's in here. This is not food. This is like chemicals. Like, I don't know how in the world they allowed to pass this, but this is affecting the person's mind and body. So I drive her nuts, and also my other family members, about like, the foods and everything. But the reason why is because I believe that the diet really does affect. It really can affect, because our gut is connected to our mind, and what we eat can actually influence us and, give us more energy, make us feel calmer, you understand, unless the body works less. Like, for example, high fructose corn syrup. Your body needs to work so much more. It has to use so much more energy to break that thing down. That's why I do not eat that no matter what. I have completely cut that out. Even Red 40. I do not touch that. And there's other ingredients as well, I just don't remember the top of my head, that can really affect your anxiety. So I completely cut those things out. And I haven't touched that already for years. And my energy level is definitely different. And whenever, let's say, for example, I eat something like it's not healthy, right? Once in a blue moon, I feel the difference. It definitely does have an effect, 100%. So what we want to do is start cutting off these things off of our lives. The news, completely cutting down social media time. And if we are, more positive things that are going to make us feel good, we have to ask ourselves, okay, I'm right now on social media, right? It's addicting. It really is. Is this making me feel better? It's not. So maybe I should stop. You understand? As well, what we could do is eat healthier. Try eating healthier. Stop watching TV so much. Go out, interact, go for a walk. You don't have to interact if that's something that makes you feel uncomfortable for now. Go for a walk, be in nature more. You're going to feel so much better and much calmer about yourself. And I know some people, it's hard for them to leave the house. So try to do things that's going to make you feel much better instead of watching TV, because watching TV or being on social media or watching the news, eating unhealthy is not going to help you. And I believe that these are some of the reasons why so many people today are struggling with anxiety disorder. And what I want to do is completely change that for people and make them aware so that future generations can actually be aware of that and not do the same mistakes as we have done. And of course, it's not only that. Of course, it's the upbringing that we had and the certain traumatic experiences that we had and the certain life that we lived, of course, has an effect. But this thing can make it definitely worse and can even trigger it. If you are looking for a natural remedy in order to help you to deal with your anxiety and help you on your journey to overcome it, I created Calmly CBD, where it specifically helps you to calm down your anxiety and panic attacks. And as well, it doesn't make you feel drowsy. It doesn't make you feel sleepy. And it helps you to just feel calm so you can actually do things throughout the day like work, drive, go out, and do whatever you like in a more calmer state of mind. As well as not addictive or has any side effects or any withdrawals, which this way can actually help you to heal your anxiety and get you to the destination in overcoming your anxiety much quicker. You can click the link that's in the description. It would say Calmly CBD to place your order today. And then right now it's on sale for a limited time where you can buy one and get the second one free. If you did like this episode, please click the like button and leave a 5-star review. The reason why I ask is because this way we're able to reach more people, and the more people that we can actually reach, the more people that we can actually help. Because my mission in this world, my purpose is to help people to overcome and heal their anxiety naturally and show them that it's possible to overcome. Thank you guys. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.